YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Today I'm counting down my top 10 pass rush units for the 2022 NFL season. We'll talk about more than 10 units, but to start, we're going to go from 10 to 1, then kind of the honorable mention teams. But not just edge group, the entire unit. So every player that is involved in getting after the quarterback for each team. So I'm really excited about this. We got a bunch of rankings on the channel, more to come. All kinds of predictions, content covering the NFL. We got you covered, especially for in-season. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow us on Twitter. Always talking during live games on there, news, rumors, updates, and more. Some things going on with Aaron Donald right now we're talking about on Twitter. So number 10, we're going to go from 10 to 1, and then I'll have kind of the just missed teams, which is kind of a lot of them because there's a lot of good groups here. I got the Bills at 10, and it's interesting because the Bills were, you wish the sack numbers were higher, but they were top 5 in terms of pressure, and that was obviously without Von Miller. They add Von Miller, so they could be even better when it comes to pressure, and now they should be a little bit better actually getting the quarterback, getting him down as well. So, so how I came up with these rankings, though, is just the talent in general all the way through, not just edge all the way through here. But you got Von Miller and Gregory Rousseau off the edge, getting after the quarterback, who contributes from the interior. Mainly Ed Oliver, who's pretty good interior pass rusher, kind of a raw prospect a couple of years ago out of Houston, so it's not a surprise if he's still kind of getting better. And then Matt Milano's a solid blitzer, nothing outstanding, but a little underrated as well. And then you got some key depth that can get after the quarterback. In Jordan Phillips, who really got after the quarterback the last time he was in Buffalo. Will he have the same role or the same amount of snaps? We'll see. Boogie Basham, AJ Epinesa. So they look a little deeper now. Some guys that maybe were starters, now kind of backups because the Bills are just that good in general. So I got them at number 10. Number 9, I went with the Eagles, and the Eagles were tricky because last year they were really towards the bottom of sack total. So you kind of wish they really got to improve on that. But this group is just so good on paper, and they made some adjustments and additions that I got to put them in the top 10. They got to go out and produce. I'm going to predict that they do that. Brandon Graham's back from injury, so that's kind of an addition compared to last year in a way. And they have Josh Sweat as well, so a solid duo getting after the quarterback off the edge. And then in the interior, the starters expect to be Hargrave and Cox, who get some good interior pressure. Fletcher Cox, not as good as he once was. Hargrave did a real good job getting after the quarterback. Mainly the first half of the year, he took off like it could be a defensive player of the year. But, he's been getting better. Very good season last year. And Hassan Reddick, who you can put with the edge group or the blitz group, they're going to use him off the edge. They're going to use him as an off-ball linebacker, as a blitzer. He's always been good when it comes to the blitz, which the Eagles didn't blitz a lot last year, so that was maybe why they didn't have a higher sack total. They blitzed second least in the NFL. But so that's really got to rise. You'd think this year really got to increase. So I think that's where Reddick comes into play. And then you got some key depth, guys like Derek Barnett, a good pass rusher, rotation pass rusher. Jordan Davis gets that interior pressure, really collapsing the pocket. You don't think, you probably won't get a lot of sack numbers for the rookie Jordan Davis, but he'll collapse in pockets. Milton Williams, really good second-year player, can play in multiple spots. And Nakobe Dean was a pretty good blitzer at Georgia. We'll see if he ends up starting or not, but that could be a good option if he's blitzing. So I think they're really trying to increase that blitz number. They're really trying to increase the production getting after the quarterback. Interior-wise wasn't really a problem. They got pressure on the interior, and that'll continue. So the Eagles looking really good on paper. Maybe no star player, but they look really good on paper, really deep, balanced. See if they take that step this year. I expect them to. Number 8, we're going to go with the Vikings, who got that star edge duo there with Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith. Crazy thing about the Vikings, they were second in the NFL in sacks last year. They were 4th in pressure, so that kind of matches up. They were towards the top of getting after the quarterback last year, and that was without Danielle Hunter for more than half the year, and they didn't have Zadarius Smith. So that's an interesting thing to think of here. So why aren't they better than 8? They very well could be because that edge rush group when it comes to numbers, production, but kind of look at it all the way through. I think that group kind of carries them a little bit. Eric Kendricks did a really good job blitzing last year. Last year, one of the better blitzing inside linebackers, which we're not used to from Eric Kendricks. So is that going to continue? A little bit of a question, but he was really good at it last year. And then Tomlinson and Watts, kind of their interior guys. Tomlinson gets a little, collapses some pockets, not going to get a whole lot of sacks. And Watts, as a backup last year, actually got 5 sacks, so we'll see if he can feed off that as a starter this year. DJ Wonnum, pretty good rotation guy there. A couple other options: Patrick Jones, second-year guy from Pittsburgh; Brian Asamoah, who's an off-ball linebacker that I think they can use rotation-wise. Maybe he can blitz him with his athletic ability, because they're trying to get creative there. So Vikings come in at number 8. Let's see if they continue where they left off, and some, because, again, they added some key guys there. Number 7, going to go with the Chargers. They add some key guys as well, looking at a guy like Khalil Mack on top of already having Joey Bosa. So that duo is very strong, kind of like the Vikings. That duo kind of really starts them up here, but you got to look through it the whole way through. Interior, you can put Joseph Day or Tillery here. Tillery's been disappointing, but he gets after the quarterback a little bit. I think Joseph Day will probably play more snaps this year. Doesn't do anything spectacular, high number-wise, getting after the quarterback. Now without Aaron Donald as well, but he has Bosa and Mack out there. Van Noy was kind of an edge/off-ball linebacker. I think they're going to use him mainly blitzing as an off-ball linebacker. And Derwin James could blitz as well. Nothing crazy there. He is a safety, so you shouldn't really expect a crazy blitz from some of the guys we'll talk about on this video. Van Noy's a pretty solid one. And they have Morgan Fox and Kenneth Murray. I thought was actually a really good pass rusher, even as an off-ball linebacker at Oklahoma. Chargers haven't got that from him yet. Maybe it's just a matter of using him more. And he's slated right now to be a depth guy, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, really strong group. Yeah, it's carried a little bit by the pass rush duo, but it's not like they don't have other pieces. There's some teams that just missed the cut on this because they have a really strong, for an example, really strong pass rush duo, but they really don't have much else. The Chargers definitely got other things there. Van Noy, a key one there. So I like them at 7. Number 6, we're going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Pretty solid edge duo with Gary and Preston Smith. Nothing kind of firm with that group, though. It's very good. I think it's going to be very good. Rashawn Gary, are we going to get what we got last year and some? Will he continue to improve? Because he was kind of a letdown before that, but he's heading in the right direction. And Preston Smith has kind of been back and forth throughout his career, like crazy numbers and a little underwhelming. But overall, it's a very good duo here. Yeah, this group, a lot of expectations. They didn't have a lot of sack numbers last year, so, sack production last year. So I'm me putting him at 6. I think that's really going to rise here. Starts with that edge duo, or does it? Because that interior group is really strong. It's weird seeing the Packers with all these interior guys because it's kind of just Kenny Clark by himself in there, who's an absolute stud, getting that interior pressure and collapsing pockets. Now they add Jaron Reed, who can do that. And Lowry got some pressure, as a 3-4 end. But they also drafted Devontae Wyatt as well, who could possibly start. It's a possibility. Blitz, they didn't really have a guy. I almost didn't list the guy here. They draft Quay Walker. We've seen him get a little bit of blitz action in preseason. Georgia would blitz Tyndall and Dean a little bit more. So it's kind of a question. Maybe that's the one in the Packers, but do they need the blitz group? I guess that's why they went out and got defensive linemen. They don't love blitzing. They want to use their actual guys to get after the quarterback. And Devontae Wyatt projected to be a depth guy right now, and Kingsley Enagbare, which I love that draft pick, already showing signs that it was a good draft pick here in preseason. So he could participate as well in that. Not crazy amount of depth, but you have a lot more options here, especially on the D-line for the Green Bay Packers. So they should take, I like the rest of the defense too, that should help. But they should take a huge step up. Need that sack total to go up this year. I think they'll do that. On to the top 5, I got the San Francisco 49ers at number 5. Excuse me, we already talked about Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa, who I think is a little bit better of the Bosas, if you had to ask me, but both the top-tier players there. Obviously, Nick Bosa helps them in this cause here. And Samson Ebukam, solid edge guy that kind of can stand up, play that Leo position for them. Bosa does carry that edge group a little bit, but then you have a guy like Armstead, and you factor in kind of the uniqueness to his game, the versatility to his game where he can rush off the edge or inside. To me, that gives him a boost. It's a big piece on why this pass rush is so good. I think starting with Bosa, but Armstead as well. And Kinlaw, I think, is about to be a stud this year. You got to stay healthy because then he'll be a stud with that interior pressure. And blitz, Fred Warner, great linebacker. Not the best blitzer, but he's kind of their option there. Maybe they can use him a little bit more in that category. So it's another one of those teams that isn't really strong, super strong compared to others on this list in terms of the blitz category. But the rest of it we talked about is so strong and they're kind of unique, but the depth is ridiculous when it comes to the rotation is ridiculous when it comes to the 49ers. They have Drake Jackson. They have Kerry Hyder, who tore it up when he played for the 49ers last. They have Jordan Willis, Charles Menhu. They have Kamoko Toure as well, who I could see him kind of taking off, playing with the 49ers as well. So really good rotation, kind of can keep bringing guys in, kind of give different looks because you have guys, Buckham and Armstead that kind of have ability to give you a kind of different looks as well. I think Drake Jackson kind of gives you that because it was kind of what's it going to be in the NFL, 3-4 or 4-3 end, or 3-4 outside linebacker, 4-3 end. You do a little bit of both, so that kind of helps you with a Leo defense like this that the 49ers have and have had for some time. So they're at 5. I got the Titans at number 4, kind of banking on them continuing where they left off because they were ridiculous at the end of last year. I mean, they broke a playoff record. Even though they lost it, it's crazy they lost that game while breaking a playoff sack record against Cincinnati Bengals. But yeah, this group kind of feels like it's getting better because of development as well. You got Harold Landry, who really took off last year. I was very high on him out of Boston College, and he's just continuing to get better. Bud Dupree got to play every game, then he'll be better. He's not really a big stats guy. I think his production can look good, but this is kind of the glue to it. And they add Dupree, and he kind of creates for the rest of the team with his different alignment. And I think we saw that in action last year. So it's a really good edge rush duo. Then you have Jeffrey Simmons, one of the very best in football at getting interior pressure, and he's just getting going, just getting better. And they have Danico Autry as well, who really took off last year. I love the fit with the Tennessee Titans defense. And they got these unique guys. Dupree kind of messes with the team's pre-snap where he aligns, and Autry kind of plays. He's kind of an interior guy, has been for most of his career, but sometimes the Titans, who are known as 3-4 base, almost look like they're lining up in a 4-3, and Autry will be at an end spot. So they're so unique in a way as while having these stud guys, a good balanced group. And Elijah Molden, who was a rookie slot corner last year, really was a good blitzer for them, and I think he continued to feed off that. And they have some options as rotation guys, maybe Rashad Weaver, we get to see him this year. Maybe he can really take off as the key rotation guy. But I love the starting group. They're so balanced. They work really well together. There's some kind of unique pass rush in there, which I look for. And just where they left us, ridiculous. So they should be able to continue off that. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins, a pretty damn deep group and arguably the best or the second best blitzing defense in football. Just talking blitz-wise, the other team that's kind of in the same conversation with them is actually ranked at number 2. We'll talk about them, but Jalen Phillips, who's about to be a stud, wouldn't surprise me if he's considered elite in another couple of years. Maybe I think people start considering him elite. I think he's that good, going to be that good. And they have Melvin Ingram, which I thought about listing Ingram as blitz and maybe Ugba as edge because this is such a unique group on top of having all this talent because Ingram kind of started that. I was always a big Melvin Ingram fan. Like why I like guys like Zadarius Smith, Bud Dupree, Micah Parsons, guys that just align in different spots and rush from different spots. Ingram felt like he started that with the Chargers a long time ago. Like he just moves around so much. He rushes from, off-ball linebacker, mainly edge, but off-ball linebacker line up inside, so that helps. And then Ugba, who rushes off the edge or, as a defensive lineman, maybe over the tackle, inside the tackle. I mean, it's a group that can give you different looks to multiple defense. It really doesn't have a set scheme. Kind of gives you more 3-4 vibes, if anything, but and that's how they have their depth listed. And they have Christian Wilkins, he's getting better too, and he's get some solid interior pressure there. And then we get to the blitz. Again, arguably the best or second best. If you're going to tell me they're worse than top 2 in blitz, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And then they're a top 2 blitz defense. Jerome Baker, a fantastic blitzing linebacker, really got used to this scheme. And then you got the safeties. You got Brandon Jones, who not a small name safety, but it was an incredible blitzer last year. And Javon Holland, who's an incredible blitzer. Honestly, Holland probably be better than Jones at blitzing just because he's that talented, but they also want him in the back end so much because he's so damn talented back there. This is just a really good group here. And then key depth, you got Van Ginkel, who align in different spots as well. Sometimes it'd be an edge rush, pass rush, and then sometimes it'd be a blitz. So I guess we don't have a lot of depth guys listed, but we have so many guys listed above that it's ridiculous. So it's just such a factor that blitz is really. I bet you it's a team that offenses kind of view as a pain in the ass to deal with. I got to deal with these guys, this blitz this week. The best quarterbacks the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL probably don't have. They usually beat up the blitz, so maybe not those guys, but they probably still think it's a pain in the ass. But such a unique pass rush here. and it should be pretty damn good this year. It feels like it's getting better. Number 2, who I also think is arguably the best blitz defense in football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Them and the Dolphins are pretty similar, mainly because the heavy blitz, But in terms of edge, Shaq Barrett, who's an absolute stud, and Joe Tryon, I almost ranked the Bucs 1 just because how crazy deep this group is and how talented it is, how talented it's been. It has been. And Joe Tryon, I guess Joe Tryon kind of held me back from maybe going 1. That's kind of that one little thing because we don't really know. I think he's going to be solid. He should take that next step up, but we need to see it. We need to see it to make that edge group even stronger. Akeem Hicks, really good at getting interior pressure. Vita Vea, not going to get a lot of sacks, but he collapses pockets as good as anyone there, so we're factoring that in. And then William Golston, who's good for like 4, 5, 6 sacks on a year, the 3-4 end, and Logan Hall could take a spot. Logan Hall can also, kind of rotate in with Tryon there. So having Logan Hall is a big piece of this as well. And you see they got some other options too. Nelson, the Sib, Avery, who they just actually picked up yesterday, which I like to fit because he's kind of like a blitz linebacker / edge rusher. That kind of fits the Buccaneers. We'll see maybe one of those guys between the Sib or Avery doesn't make the team perhaps, but they got some pass rushers here. But again, arguably the best blitzing defense in football. They'll blitz as much, them and the Dolphins will blitz more than anyone, and Devin White actually blitzed more than anyone in football last year for guys that are, blitzing, obviously not just the edge rushers, but linebackers, blitzing by far the most actually, and Devin White's very good at it. Levante David does it a bit as well, and then Mike Edwards, who blitzed a bit for a safety, and then you factor in that which safety not only had more blitzes, but one of the most out of safeties in the NFL last year, Jordan Whitehead. Now he's off the team. He is on the Jets. He signed with the Jets. Mike Edwards, who already played a bit and already had a good amount of blitzes, taking that spot. He made some big-time plays, Mike Edwards, that is, off blitzes as well. Edwards going to blitz a lot more. That's what I'm getting to. So this is a crazy group here. So many options and kind of checkbox, every single category here. So it kind of feels like a number 1 group. We'll see what we get from Tryon this year, but I had to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 1. Having TJ Watt certainly helps with his production. Alex Highsmith, a pretty good duo with him, but then you got the crazy interior pressure as well, which Cam Hayward we're not going to get from here. Larry Ogunjobi was a monster when it comes to interior pressure last year. So you want a foot injury kind of heading in this offseason, but that was a big-time pickup for him to take Tuitt's spot. Because Tuitt was a monster as well. Just haven't seen him healthy a whole lot. We did 2 years ago, and he was insane. But Ogunjobi going with the Steelers and, taking over that role, it's absolutely huge there. So, that's just, you have the sack numbers, the pressure number from TJ Watt, and then Alex Highsmith, but then the interior is great as well. And something I noticed is I was talking about the blitzing. I was just talking about those blitzing defenses, the Dolphins and the Buccaneers. You go back, the highly successful blitzing defense. You kind of go back a couple years ago, the Steelers were kind of in that conversation as well. And last year they didn't really feel right. They felt right in terms of, Watt getting after the quarterback, Hayward getting after the quarterback, but they didn't feel right with off topic, the run defense, but blitzing as well. They really couldn't do it the same way. So they didn't do it enough. They didn't do it as much as Mike Tomlin wanted to. And they had Miles Jack, who's a pretty sneaky blitzer. He hasn't been known as the best blitzing off-ball linebacker on the planet. Solid, but not the best. But he's pretty damn sneaky. I like his athletic ability. And I'm starting to think that they're going to get back on track with that. So, and Devin Bush can blitz as well. I guess we could have put him in there. He could blitz as well. But then you look at a guy like Chris Wormley, who was very productive. And, he could start over Ogunjobi because Wormley was – and they'll probably start with Ogunjobi and a nose tackle in there, obviously. But or passing downs, most downs, you may see Hayward, Ogunjobi, and Wormley, because Wormley was very productive getting after the quarterback last year. And they drafted DeMarvin Leal, who was, people were like, is this guy a 4-3 end edge rusher, or is he more of a 3-4 end that could get after the quarterback? And I liked him more as a 3-4 end that can get after the quarterback just because of his size, his strength. And the lack of speed meant probably more inside, and he goes to the perfect scenario. The Steelers are a 3-4, as a 3-4 end there, which he kind of gives you, he's not going to be as good as Stephon Tuitt was, but he kind of gives you some similar vibes there of how, maybe body type, how they played. So I think he could help them a lot as well. So maybe not as crazy deep as the Buccaneers. How deep the Buccaneers were, how many players we talk about. Maybe you want to put them at 1. I just think this is the best group all the way around. Which group is going to be the most consistent, productive, effective, getting after the quarterback. I am kind of banking on with that prediction that Miles Jack blitzes a bit, maybe more than everyone thinks, because I think he could be pretty good at it. So that's my top 10. There's a lot of other teams. It was tough leaving some teams out of the top 10. Talk about the Raiders. I mean, their edge rush duo alone will get them in terms of sacks, sack totals. They'll be up there. And this wasn't that video. This wasn't who's going to have the most sacks. That wasn't this video. But those two alone will get them up there. They just don't have, they're really carrying the group. They're really carrying the group. And maybe Bilal Nichols can be a little sneaky on the interior. Is there going to be a blitz? Perriman's a good linebacker, doesn't blitz at all. Jaylen Brown, will he blitz a little bit for them maybe? And the Rams, I mean, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, if they still had Von Miller, they would not only be top 10, they would be way up in the top 10. It's just that much of a factor with and without him, because it's kind of Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Aaron Donald maybe the best in the business. And Greg Gaines for a nose tackle could get some pressure. It just seems to be carried quite a bit by two guys. The Broncos, kind of a unique group, mainly held up. And again, these are main contributors. It's not like the last ones where we had like all the contributors. But Bradley Chubb, Randy Gregory, the main guys there. Draymond Jones from the inside. They got some unique guys like Baron Browning and Nick Bonito, guys that can create pressure in different ways. So I do like the Broncos. Strongly consider them the top 10. Saints got a really good group here. Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport, really good guys off the edge. Demario Davis blitzes quite well. Didn't blitz as much last year, but can blitz. And Onyemata, not going to get a whole lot of sacks, but kind of collapses some pockets there. We'll see if a guy like Peyton Turner steps up. So I really like the Saints group as well. Bengals group was real strong last year. They lost Ogunjobi. Will that matter that much to them? We'll see. But Hendrickson and Hubbard, very good edge group. B.J. Hill was solid last year. Mike Hilton for a slot corner blitzes quite a bit there. I kind of like Zachary Carter, too, the rookie from Florida. Could he step up a bit? Some more. The Commanders. Chase Young being injured. Trying to keep up with all the injuries and the suspensions, but injured and going to miss on the PUP list. Will miss at least 4 weeks. That definitely played a part, and he hasn't really, small sample size, hasn't really got the best chance, but hasn't really got after the quarterback what we thought he would do. Same with Sweat. Sweat's got to get going. This group could be really, really good. And they have Jonathan Allen, who's proven very good. Deron Payne gets some interior pressure. Maybe I would like for them to blitz Cole Holcomb a little bit more. But kind of a group that needs to prove a little bit more, because we like the idea of them, and we need Chase Young on the field. Colts got a pretty good group. It's really on the edge group stepping it up. I think Ngakoue will be fine. We need more production out of him. DeForest Buckner gets the interior pressure, and then Shaq Leonard is a pretty good blitzer. They didn't really use him a whole lot that way last year, I guess, but he can do it, But I like they got a little bit of everything there. They got a little bit of everything. I do like that. It's just, which Ngakoue are we going to get? Is Leonard how much is he going to blitz in this new defense? Will Pay take that step up? So I guess some questions, even though it's a pretty balanced group there. The Browns kind of held up by their edge duo. Will they use Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah a little bit more in the blitz? Will an interior guy step up? But it's mainly just a duo. It's mainly Myles Garrett really carrying him a lot. The Jaguars, I actually like this group. It's a sleeper group here. Josh Allen, who's kind of the proven guy of the group, and he should be able to continue to get better. Trayvon Walker, who can get after the quarterback off the edge or the inside, the first overall pick. Devin Lloyd, who's a linebacker that can blitz or rush off the edge, and he did it pretty well last year at Utah. And they have a guy like Dwayne Smoot. They have a guy like Roy Robertson Harris. They got some guys there. The Jaguars, that's a sneaky group right there. I like that group. The Chiefs got Frank Clark, Carl Laptis, and Dunlap as edge guys. And, of course, they have Chris Jones at the interior. They got to get those sack numbers up. Maybe adding Carl Laptis and Dunlap should help them a little bit. And then we talked about a lot of teams here. 3 more I want to talk about. The Cowboys were up there in production last year. They were up there, but Gregory was a big piece of that. He had a crazy amount of pressures last year. So they lost Gregory. They have Parsons still, which is unique player, to say the least there. DeMarcus Lawrence got to stay healthy. If DeMarcus Lawrence stays healthy and kind of goes back to where he's playing, this group kind of gets up there. And then they have Anthony Barr. Maybe a guy like Dante Fowler steps up. Maybe somebody on the interior, Osa Odighizuwa perhaps. But, yeah, it's mainly Parsons kind of carrying him at this point. The Jets got a pretty deep group. It's just some question marks there. Carl Lawson, you're off the injury. He wasn't super productive with the Bengals. You just saw the traits and the upside were there. So do we see that? Do they get that out of him this year? I think they could. We just got to see it in action. Jermaine Johnson, very good draft pick there. John Franklin Myers, who can move inside and out. And then Quinn Williams, who gets production from the inside. Rankins, as Rankins step up as well. So some questions, but a pretty deep group there from the Jets. And the Giants, who kind of got beat up by injuries just recently. Thibodeau going to miss a little bit of time. And Azeez Ojulari had to be kind of carried off the field actually today. From what I've heard, it's not as serious as they originally thought, but we kind of thought that with Tyrone Smith, different position there with the Cowboys yesterday. But Thibodeau and Ojulari is a pretty good pass rush doing. Leonard Williams is one of the better 3-4 pass rushing ends in football. And I'm waiting for kind of Lawrence to break out as an interior pressure guy there as well. So the Giants could be a little sneaky as well. But those are the ones I wanted to talk about. There's other ones that I could consider good. These are kind of ones that popped in my head. Good enough for me to consider them top 10. There was kind of a lot of them, though. That was the reason I listed, not some teams, not all of them there. So let me know your rankings, your thoughts. I really enjoyed this one, kind of just seeing who gets pressure from what spot, who are the blitzing teams, who are the interior teams, who are all of the above teams. Pretty cool. So tons of videos on the channel covering the NFL. Definitely more to come. Really excited about our videos leading up, predicting this season, and then our videos in season. Cannot wait for that. So like, subscribe to notifications on, join us for all that. Follow us on Twitter. Link down below. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.